Aldan Borough, all start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the
flag
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody, for joining. I guess we'll start off with our professionals. Mr. White, what do you have?
Oh, you start with me,
Yes, sir.
okay.
A bundle.
No, I don't have a whole lot for at least Caucus. Road resurfacing did start this week, so if anybody saw all the equipment around town and,
Belgrade looked like it was done tonight when I drove by.
was it?
Yeah. I don't know about the
Not
rest of
sure
it.
if they got, what is it, Laurel down there? They were doing the potholes in certain areas, so you're gonna see large equipment around town for this week. I guess the biggest problem and challenge they're gonna have is actually doing the driveways behind Ridley and on both sides, I guess the, was it the unit and the 100? What's Ginger? I guess they're both unit, aren't they? Between Maple and Providence and Magnolia.
What do you mean? I thought those alleyways were not.
Well, we can do 50 feet of them. We can get that in through our road program. That's it. That's all we're allowed to do.
Oh, okay, so the equipment park on Ridley Avenue, that's for doing the driveway?
I don't know if it's for there or they're parking it there and taking it up the other end of town.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure. I'm assuming it's for the driveways though.
Yeah,
Makes the most
yeah, 'cause,
sense.
so the guy at 2B, he asked, he says, I saw they marked up the driveway. I said, well,
50 feet. That's all they're allowed to
50
do.
feet? Oh, okay.
I will make one comment on West Magnolia Avenue. I saw them moving the grader that strips the roadway.
Yep.
And it's left a beautiful set of tank tracks
I followed that today.
all the way up, and there's spots where there's macadam on a street that was just repaved last year. So,
I saw it all the way
Yep.
in today.
yeah.
So we'll keep an eye. The engineers will keep an eye on that.
Where was that at?
So on West Magnolia Avenue, they were moving, I guess because of the driveways and stuff, they were moving their big machine that strips the roadways. And there's a beautiful set of tank tracks when I came home tonight. And every so often, there's a nice splotch of macadam on top of the newly paved street from a year ago. So,
Yeah.
Hey, John, and I'll go through it on my report. I had an interaction with a resident who was, that lives on Clifton. Offset, I don't know his number. He's upset for two things. He's upset, one, that Clifton isn't crowned properly.
Get to State Highway.
Actually, three things. Absolutely. That's how we kind of chalked it up. So just to give you the idea, he believes it's our issue. So it's not crowned properly. But I guess somebody inspected a new driveway or a new apron that went in for a driveway, and there's a puddle that forms, and that's how they were told to do it. So that was one of the issues. And the third topic is that he's concerned with the puddling that's happened with the handicap accessible ramps at Providence and Clifton. He says that in the rain, it's going to, or in the snow, it's going to ice up and freeze and what have you. So he had a whole list of things. He said he's going to join us at council next Wednesday. 'Cause that's what
Sure.
I encouraged him to do. But this year-
And we're going to defer them right to PennDOT.
And that's
That's
exactly where we
it's
were.
nothing to do with us.
He is an engineer himself, so he had.
if you, Steve, if everybody remembers from our last council meeting, Mr. Tartaglia gave in great detail how the borough actually tried to sue PennDOT through the administrative law judge system in order to make them pour those according to their own standards, which is separate curbing and ramp, and they did not. They did a monolithic pour, and those have been that way since the early 1990s. It's been 30 years, and in the wintertime, where they puddle, they ice up. So,
And last but not least, he was just concerned with if they take 2 inches off the road, they should put 2 inches back. I never knew PennDOT or any of our projects.
We all do.
I mean, they put it back
Yes.
exactly the way they take it up. Just from what I
We also videotape the curb lines because we have multiple people tell us that their curb line has been damaged, and we go back on the film and find out it was already damaged. So,
spent a little bit of time with him at his house.
did you?
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I will say from my personal experience as a youngster in town, they didn't used to
No, they didn't.
scrape the streets because the curbs over the years in the 60s, 70s, and 80s disappeared because they never milled the street properly. So,
Including mine.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Well, mine's PennDOT property.
thank you, Councilman. Yes, sir.
Peter, is Mr. Culligan a executive thing, or is it no big deal?
Well, A, I don't think it's any big deal, but B, it is an executive. You can
So we'll let that go. It's a real quick executive thing. I also had a resident from Collindale who shares our sewer system, 901 North Street, request that we waive the fees, the penalty and interest fees, because they haven't paid for the last, looks like 2.5 years. The reason they haven't paid is because they never got notification. It was not, if it was Alden, Jerry would have let them know, but since it was Collindale, I guess their tax collector never let the county know. So they're asking for the borough to waive their fee. And just so you know, the fee amount is it's almost $5,000.
How much is the total bill without the fee?
23,1409.
Is that for all 3 years?
And then there's a penalty, which is 0.0833333. Yes, for all 3 years.
All right. I had a conversation with Mr. Barber about that, very addressed, and that you're correct. He doesn't get notification of property changes for the, I think we have about 20 people connected that are either in Collindale or Upper Darby to our sewer system.
And
And-
Darby Township, yeah.
And he was sending the bills to the previous owner and it never came back to him. So it wasn't until this person complained apparently that it got caught this year. So I'd like everybody to look at the numbers, but if the guy didn't get a bill, I don't know what everybody else feels. I mean, he should pay the amount that he owed, but the fact that he never received the bill and he gets all the rest of his taxes from Collindale.
But he hasn't paid any water or sewer bills in 3 years.
Sewer bills.
Just
so
sewer for us.
He pays property tax to
Right.
Collindale, but he's connected to our sewer, but he didn't get the bills.
And is
Because
he new to that property? Like,
Yes, he bought it two and a half years ago. I mean, I'd like to see all the numbers, but it seems reasonable to me if he pays the entire amount of the base amount that it would be reasonable that he would.
Well,
not
there
have to
also
pay the
has to be
penalty.
some responsibility to the homeowner to know that you're not paying your sewer taxes. So you owe it to somebody.
Well,
and he wasn't paying through a mortgage company or anything? This was all.
That I don't know, but,
Because usually if it's through a mortgage company, it gets added in.
and this is, it's NASR property, so I don't know if this is like a flipping firm who buys and rehabs and then rents out. I'm not sure.
I mean, the only problem you have, if you do it for one, you're setting precedents and you're gonna be doing it for other people that have other reasons why they didn't pay it.
We've had residents here ask and we turned them down for the same
Right.
reason. It's set in stone, but again, it's going to be council's
Obviously.
decision.
well, I'd like to see all the material and all the backup before we make a decision, but. And we could get that to all the council people so that they can see it.
Damn, because I have copies already.
Let's see if Mr. Barber can enlighten us a little further. If this is the property that he was explaining to me.
Okay, yeah, the other one I have
Wait a
is,
I was just gonna say, we'll take a look at the precedents. Right, that, you know, that it's in the law with all these taxes and assessments that whether you get notice or not, you have to pay it, and any penalties become part of the taxes, so we'll be careful. I mean, I can see this situation. It seems different, but we'll take a look at that as well to make sure that we're not. Lots of people claim similar things about this. Situation.
I just, Mr. President, Mr. Wright, when there's several things that we say, if we do it for one, we do it for others, instead of sometimes taking an individual look at the situation.
Mhm.
So I understand doing it for one, doing it for other, but people have different situations.
sure they do.
Well, that's why I would like to get all the information before we make a decision one way or the other. I mean, I understand both sides of the argument, so we'll see which way it comes out.
Yeah, you're right. There's different circumstances for everybody. And then the last thing I have for this is the laterals that we did on Albert Avenue, 64 and 66 Albert. You know, we've been going back and forth now for pretty much 7 months, when you say, buddy, with the homeowners here. You know, everything they've asked for, we've given them. We've given them plenty of time. We've given them a video of it. We've given them pictures of it. We've given them, they asked for an individual breakdown of the addresses of the bills. We've given them that as well. Now they're looking for,
They're looking for a description of the damage that they found.
my answer is look at the video. It's all on there. What happened was we sent a letter out to both residents because there was a hole in the street between the sidewalk and curb. And I'm telling you, 100% of the time it's on the homeowner. I spoke to both homeowners at the house. They both told me that they had their plumber come out, look at it, and they were told it was our responsibility. I kind of pleaded with them, telling them, look, I'm telling you, it's yours. They both said they had insurance. It's my problem or our problem. Okay, first opportunity we had, we abated the property and took care of it. With that, like I said, we gave them a video of what was found. We gave them pictures, still pictures of what was found. We gave them a breakdown of each address of exactly what the labor was. I mean, at this point, I'm inclined to give everything to Nat tomorrow to lien the property. How much longer are we gonna go here?
I mean, yeah, well, she asked for the description because the insurance company sent out plumbers and the insurance company's plumber said there's nothing wrong with your pipe.
Right,
And, but when they dug it up, you could see it all. And, I was like, I'm thinking just a paragraph or something, I was like, we found, half a dozen cracks in the lateral, we found subsidence.
but that's all in the video.
Yes,
I can write anything I want. A picture's worth 1,000 words. We're
Right.
giving them a video. They have it.
Are you saying that the insurance company sent the plumber out prior to us doing the work?
that's what she said. She said the insurance company sent two plumbers and then she got two plumbers and next door got two plumbers. And they all said it's not their problem. I was like, "Did you look at the pipes?" It's like, oh yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, I saw in the pipe, I saw splits in the pipes. I saw cracked bells. Where the pipes join together, there's pieces
Holes?
missing. There's holes in the dirt, where somebody stuck a shovel in there. So, the front yard was, being eroded away. So, yeah, I mean, that eventually that problem was going to get a lot bigger. If it wasn't abated.
If we didn't abate it, there would have been a hole in the street very shortly.
Right, or in their front yard as well, too, because I think in one of them, they went probably halfway up into the yard.
Right.
To repair.
I mean, it's also up to the homeowner to pay us at this point and recoup their money through their insurance company.
Right.
They basically told us it was our problem. There's a hole in the street, it's yours. Okay, we fixed it. Now, it goes. It's almost $20,000 we've been waiting on for almost a year now.
Is it only one of the two that has not paid, or is it both?
No, neither has paid, and actually, one's been, I guess, communicating with Buddy. The other one I haven't heard a word from.
Yeah, the other one seemed okay, I mean.
Yeah, they seemed okay, but I didn't get payment.
Yeah, I think they're working with their insurance company, and the insurance company's probably not anxious to pay up,
And
which is their job.
the insurance company also did not contact us,
Right, okay,
because if they did, I said, look, you guys have, we gave the homeowners everything you need. So at this point, Nat, I'm sending you everything tomorrow. I think that's it.
Can we send them a do or die letter? Or
Dan, I've
no?
already sent to certified. We even sent a second notice
About payment?
about payment.
All right.
So then is the next step a lien? Is that what you're?
Next
saying
step would be lien. And with the lien comes penalty and interest, just like we had to do on the, well, we didn't, we stopped before we did lien.
Mhm,
We made payment plans
okay. On Linden Ave.
on Linden. One paid immediately, the other we set up a payment plan. So we try to work with the
Right.
residents. If they cooperate with us, we've done everything on our part that they asked when they just keep going further and further. And what am I gonna write down that you had a hole here, a hole here? It's in the video.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, if
well-
that's the case, I think you have to do the liens.
Right.
yeah, well, she wasn't able to view the video that we dropped off. And,
Okay, but
I didn't know why, but,
me either, but
Yeah.
she should give that to her insurance company
Right. okay,
because they're gonna wanna see it anyway. I mean, her opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot. The insurance company's the one paying.
okay, yeah, because I think she's trying to get the money from the insurance. And, so, the insurance company said, well, there's nothing wrong. We looked, and there's nothing wrong. It's like, yeah, there's something obviously wrong. And it's cost me $10,000.
Right.
$10,000 worth of wrong.
The individual you're talking about also asked the contractor at the time to go further up on her own personal property because they were finding more and more wrong with hers. I know she didn't tell you that part, did she?
No, she didn't tell me that.
The
but I
reason
did see
hers
that.
was a little bit higher than next door's is because they went an extra, I don't know, 4, 8 feet up on the person's property.
Yeah, I think one of the pictures shows a shovel. You know, there's a hole about like this next to the lateral, and there's a shovel.
Sure,
Buried back.
it's
in there.
probably the one you could
Yeah.
see from between the sidewalk and curb. You could look down pretty good.
Right.
Anyway, that's all I have.
Okay.
Who's going to cover the repair to the former no name? I noticed it was patched today.
Steve, you want that? You want me?
Yeah.
So that also was the boroughs. There was a hole in the parking lot in the stop and go.
Stop and go. Thank
We
you.
had it investigated. The Antonio Construction went in there and they basically did the repair. Again, we have videos of that where the whole brick lining was completely collapsed. So I did not get a bill on that yet, so I'm waiting on that one.
But it looks like it's finished. Look like they did a final
Yep.
paving on the thing. It's very good.
And while they were there, they also had to jet the line because they could see when they were down there, all the mud, dirt and bricks that were basically from probably a 2-year problem, build up laying there. So they cleared that out at the same time.
John, was that, wasn't there a flood or something like that, in that same general area? Wasn't there something that happened in that area? Wasn't there a backup of some, of a sewer line?
There actually, but that was his. You're right. There was something there. He called someone out and had it clear, but that was,
Gotcha. But
that
that's-
was his.
Okay, and that feeds that same exact line.
Believe it or not, it doesn't.
Does.
Goes the other way.
Wow, okay.
The homeowner, the owner of the store was very cooperative. I mean, he understood if it was his, he was gonna pay for the whole thing and,
It was significant. It was a big hole.
yeah,
Okay, so that manhole was part of the Logs Run sewer?
yes.
Okay.
That's where, when they redid the Lobs Run, there was a pumping station there to bypass that for a long time because they couldn't slide the pipe through because it was not round.
Right.
It was oval. So they had to redesign. So it was there for a long period of time. And I happened to be there when they had popped it for inspection. It's very bizarre when you look down there. There's pipes going. You're putting water in over here. It looks like it should be going that way and not there. It's
That's what
very,
you're talking about, Steve.
it's
I know
very
it looks like you should have
confusing.
went there, but
Yeah,
it
that's
didn't.
what I thought of.
You look down in the hole and where you think it's going is not where it's going.
How old was the brick lining estimated, did they say? With the-
I'm sure it was original, which would be close to 100
Probably
years
over
old.
100 years ago, I'm sure. Yeah. So, all right,
It was pretty deteriorated though at the bottom.
I'm glad it was taken care of for the gentleman. Thank you very much. Any other question?
I have a question. When there's a video, there's no description of what the video is describing. Whenever there's a video,
What it'll do is give you either the address in the case of Albert or Stop and Go. It's just gonna be labeled and you just view the video and there's actually still pictures on there as well, which, like I said, picture tells 1,000 words.
so,
Shows you.
so the assumption is that they know what they're looking at.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, once they stick the camera down there, they'll also spin it around just to check the condition of the other bricks. Yeah, there's no doubt when
And
it
the
is.
stills don't have any description either.
The stills might have something on it, buddy, did they?
No,
Yes,
not
okay.
the ones that I sent to Albert Avenue. They were just pictures.
Okay,
So if you didn't know what you were looking at, it's like, okay.
Sure.
What's this?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but that's what's good about having the video.
Yeah, if you know what you're looking at.
Right,
right.
which the average person is not going to, but the insurance carrier would know because they sent somebody out.
Right.
What they would do is make a copy, send it to their plumber who said it was our responsibility. He's gonna look at it and say, okay.
Right, but it's the homeowner that's asking for the description, right?
No, you said the insurance company's asking.
No, she's asking for the description so she can go after her insurance company. The insurance company said there's nothing wrong. And she's like, yeah, there is something wrong. There's, here's pictures and this is what they found.
And the video.
Right. But yeah, she just, like a paragraph, we found, 18 sections of cracked pipe, bad trap. Subsided our,
But all that's written up on the bill, but it's broken down. I mean, they broke every bit of it down.
Bills that details.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
So then if she has her bill, then she has a
yeah, I've got a
description.
copy.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's one for 66. So that's all the pipe they replaced.
Okay, that's pretty fair.
That's not a description.
Yeah, it's not a
That's what I
description of what they
meant.
found.
Yeah,
it's something
no,
that they
it's-
replaced.
It's on there.
Yeah, I still have 66 hours. They apparently didn't need it, so.
All right, any other questions for the borough manager? Chief, you're up next.
Okay, we've had, or we're a member of the Eastern Delaware County Aggressive Driving Task Force. So we've had officers out on that, salaries are paid. And they go out and write tickets. So that's basically their job is to go out and write tickets, and they've been doing that. Second thing is the bike patrol, although it may be a little late in the year. We have the bikes being worked on, and they'll probably be out in the next couple of weeks. We'll run probably through November. That's all I have.
Are they still training in Upper Darby for that? I know I was over there working years ago, and the Upper Darby police actually were training one of our officers and other officers from the
We have
county.
2 guys that are trained on it, and there has not been a school that I'm aware of.
Okay,
If there is one, we'll send, I have 6 officers on it, and 2 of them are trained, and 4 will need to go.
okay,
4 will go. They don't, there's no mandate that they go.
right.
I mean, guy asked me today, and I said, can you ride a bike? I said, yeah. Pretty well.
Any questions for the chief?
Yes.
Yeah.
I talked to, well, last night was National Night Out, and I asked him, and Alden doesn't participate, but he said there's something called Safety Day
We,
that used to be.
yeah, we started Safety Day back in, like, help me, 1992.
Or something like that. It was in conjunction with our Founder's Day. And it was the 3rd Saturday in September, closest to the time that Alden was incorporated. And what they would do is the police officers would give like young bike riders, they would have like a little obstacle course, and they had a little passport that they would have to do with different things and things like that. So it was over in the police parking lot.
When did it start?
Well, we didn't have Founder's Day last year, but.
Yeah, probably
2
2
years.
years ago,
Yeah,
3
2
years ago.
So,
It ran at the same time as
Has been.
Night Out.
Mhm.
And so we didn't do both. I talked to Dan
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
Rather than do the same thing twice within a month.
Mhm.
We always had the Safety Day when Night Out started. So we just stuck with Safety Day.
so it's possible for next year?
For Safety Day,
Yes.
I would say that it's possible. Well, it's more than possible. We can do it. The problem is that everybody has to be aware that this is an incredible amount of work. And the volunteers kind of started to bail out. Am I
Actually,
right,
that
Mike?
was probably our biggest issue is we just don't have people grow up or raise their kids and move out.
It gets
there and stuff,
expensive.
And,
You know,
but, I mean,
food.
And the participation was horrible.
yeah.
Got to a point.
We used to be in the same time as they would be having the soccer games. Like, it was just
Yeah.
all kind of, I mean, probably our best year ever was, unfortunately, the year 9/11. And was 2 weeks after that. And I mean, it was a beautiful sunny day and people were there and it was a lot of. it was
And a
just a-
helicopter come
Yeah,
in.
yeah, it was very, very, and it stayed probably for the next, 5, 6, but it just kind of just as the years went on, the soccer program, but Mr. Caperna says, the things are moving up with that, so, but it would kind of lend itself, like the parents would be up watching the soccer games and they would bring them over, and we'd have the Founder's Day, and then they would have the Safety Day, and.
You guys tried doing a flea market on
we
on
would
top to
have- oh,
bring
we would have
people
a-
in.
We would have a flea market.
It just, people just didn't
Yeah.
come.
And, yeah, so, I mean, and it was always the same weekend as, like, there was a car show and another thing down. in
Oh,
the-
Norwood.
I think Norwood had theirs, and theirs was a little bit more, involved.
Theirs was huge.
But, I mean, it's a great idea, like I said, if you can generate the interest and have, the people, I mean.
And you get the help. That's very difficult when you see what's involved in that. We had an officer that worked almost full time.
Oh, Larry Albertoli, who's still a borough resident, he lives with the street from you.
For months.
He would he would go to the Hearst factory, he would go to Wawa, he would go and the nice thing about it was, the boosters would come and cook hamburgers and hot dogs and, they would also get all the, things for, either a donation or mean, the nominal
Donated,
fee
Yeah, Jimmy Phillips down there, used to
Yeah.
give us, I think, $700 for
for
hamburgers.
hamburgers and hot dogs, and it
Wow.
was just kind of
It's a
like a
lot of
nice
work.
festival type of a day, but it has some, like I said, it just, I was on the historic commission, we just have seen it go down and down and down, so. thank you.
I'm waiting on a response from Officer Albertoli, who is now in Lansdowne and runs their National Night Out program, but he told me that they no longer do it on the night out, they do it on a weekend day. So they don't do it on the day that's the national day because of the same problem of logistics and volunteers and costs. So I haven't gotten more an update than that, so I'm waiting to hear back from him. 'Cause
Ask
he-
him if
he's-
it's not pretty similar to our safety.
Yeah, he coordinated that here before he became a Lansdowne police
Right.
officer. Because of his experience, they tapped him to do it over in Lansdowne.
He did an unbelievable job.
But really, he worked all year on the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then to get the volunteers up there to work.
Yep,
And that just went away.
we hope to regenerate that,
Especially at the
some
end of the
some
night.
sort of an event. As soon as we get rid of
Yeah,
masks
3
and
o'clock in the
Delta
afternoon, it was
variants.
like,
Yeah. because-
Yeah, everyone's
us and
gone.
Mr. Anthony were like putting the chairs away, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
And the grills.
yeah, they're
Trash.
Any other questions for the chief? Seeing none, I'll go to our resident, not our solicitor, he's our, what is he, a barrister? I guess he would be called.
Your litigator.
My litigator.
33 spot.
Yeah,
Okay, so, back on July 21st, we got an order, from Judge Zealand for the, 33 East Providence property. It extends the injunction for 6 months and requires, that the sale agreement have specific language in it.
Did we get a copy of it?
I think
have
I
copies
sent,
for everyone.
I sent out an email once you sent it to me a few days later to everybody, whether they remembered it or
I
not, I
also
don't know.
have copies. So, let me keep going.
So that extension takes us to January of 2022 before we're back in court again, unless they sell the property.
It does, right. So it's up to 6 months. But what happens is, once the property is sold, the new owner has 60 days to get us an engineer's report under seal. So, or an engineer's plans under seal to remediate the property and bring it up to all codes within the borough and apply for permits. And if they don't do that, we can run off and go back to Judge Whalen and say, hey, this is not being complied with, and try to get the injunction lifted. What's nice about, I mean, I know we wanted a lot more, but this is why I'm glad we did work to put in some demands, because this is essentially just a hair better than we would have just gotten by agreeing to the owner's offer. But it's always good to ask. The fence can't come down until we say. And what this language does do is it satisfies the prerequisites for bringing a house down. You need notice and a reasonable opportunity to cure. So the sale language is both. They have notice of the condemnation written right into their sale agreement, and they're given 60 days to get those plans under seal and apply for the permits they're going to need to fix the place. So we're monitoring. I'm going to follow up this week and see what the status of the property is. And we'll go from there.
So who's ultimately responsible for the payment of the fence, the rental of the fence?
The homeowner, the gentleman that owns the property now, correct?
CJD Group. And
So
then,
that's being leaned, that's it, I guess it's some point.
well,
They
we
didn't
didn't.
put
Well,
it
they're
up.
paying
They
for
put
it.
it up.
Oh, they put it up.
They
Yeah.
paid,
They
they
put it
called,
up.
made the phone call.
Oh, okay.
And how about all the other liens that were on the property?
Yeah, they're still being leaned.
Yeah, this order doesn't address those.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
So
my,
the new owner won't be able to do anything until those liens are satisfied. Is that correct? If they
Right.
sell,
Right.
or did the liens come before the sale of the property?
But liens run with the property. It should be, any lien should be satisfied by the sale, as long as the sale price exceeds whatever that exact standard is, but they should be satisfied at closing.
so my understanding is that all the liens from when they, John, when do they actually have paid liens going back to when?
CJD paid all the liens from 20 and 21 since they purchased the
Right.
property.
Since the upset sale.
Since the
They
upset.
purchased it in December of 2019. They didn't get clear title to November of 2020, but they paid for all the liens that we took care of the property until that time in 2020.
Yes.
But there's still pre-existing
There-
liens
there's
that were
yeah,
not
there's a
paid
bunch
for,
of Pre-existing liens from prior to the outset.
which is about $20,000 to $24,000, which didn't get picked up and should have got picked up at the sale, but for some reason did not.
Right, we have to look into that.
Peter, can we add all the costs incurred since? Meaning attorney and engineering fees?
Attorney's fees, we can look into that. That might be.
Yeah, we'll check.
Engineering
We'll
fees?
sort of look into that. And, Get you an answer on that for next week. How much it is.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll make a note.
I also, do you want to comment about Heather? She's not here.
for,
I spoke with Heather Gill and she has talked to the county since we now have the order.
oh,
And
sorry, yeah.
she's working with them because there was a deadline for the grant to
Right.
be utilized, and they understand that we have an order that we can't do anything for 6 months, but I don't think she's gotten a response back. Other than, we hear you, we're looking into it, we'll get back to you, so
They're gonna give us an extension at
Yeah.
this point.
this.
There's no date, Mr. Hayes, if you're listening. Okay, there is no dead date, so, but they are willing to work with us.
Right. So that was the other thing that was hanging out in the balance because of the court case.
That's good. So the
Yeah.
county knows, hey, we're not just sitting on. this.
Right.
We try.
We did. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. Anything else for?
I just wanted to talk about, there's been an update to the Sunshine Act that goes into effect at the end of this month. And shouldn't change things here too much, but it's all about agendas and making sure that everything is on the agenda that council's going to consider. And we can't make any changes once it's less than 24 hours before the meeting. So the big changes are, that's probably the biggest one. You can't make any changes less than 24 hours before the meeting. So you can't just, and I don't think it's an issue here, but the legislature was concerned maybe about some places adding big ticket items to the agenda. Maybe feeling the public didn't have enough notice. But you have to post it on your website.
We do that.
24 hours, right? You have to post it physically at the meeting location, which is a little bit annoying, but it's easy enough to do. And then we have to have physical copies here. But the big thing is you can't make any changes 24 hours in advance. And I'll work with John to make sure that it's specific enough that it meets the standard. I mean, you don't have to spell out every last little dot, but.
Peter, which meetings are we referring to? Council, zoning, planning? They would be 3 for us?
Right, those three.
Okay,
And are those, are they posting their?
we
agendas?
never put them before their agendas.
I
I mean, zoning doesn't happen much. Planning, we get that from Dan. We just send it. We'll put it right on the web. As far as posting, I guess we could use the cabinet out in the parking lot
Sure.
and just bring extra copies and have them sitting here.
Yes,
Everything else we do anyway.
right.
I have been to other governmental meetings where they actually change the agenda before, at the beginning of the meeting.
Sure. We have clients who would do that. They're not gonna do it anymore, but they'll say, okay, we have an addendum. A lot of times it's like school districts always are hiring people, right? And
Mhm.
so they're, especially some
Karen,
bigger
you would
things.
fall under that. Recycling doesn't
Right.
fall under it.
Right. And so, they'll say we're adding it and you under the Sunshine Act, you can do that as long as you give people, you could do that as long as you gave them public chance to comment on it.
Mhm.
But now they said, no changes less than 24 hours before. There's some exceptions, true emergencies, but it really has to be extreme. Or if it's I mean, I don't know what you could meet. It's like, if you don't spend any money and it's minor, but I don't know that it falls.
So I know we brought this up, or at least I brought it up in the past, there's a couple open item or couple open topic, or a couple open bullet points on the agenda that allows it to open for open forum, whether it be council or not, where those items can sneak in.
That's,
That's similar still, or is
so
that
you could have a
something we should-
forum where you discuss things, but that's actually pretty specific, particularly about the public. You can't then vote on something because somebody brought something up in the public forum. You could talk about, that's a good point. What?
So we can use that a couple months.
It'll be in place in September, but so whenever the public says, well, I want you to vote on this, now we can say, well, we'll hear what you're saying, we can't vote on it tonight, no matter what.
So the items that have to be posted specifically are those that are going to be voted items, whether they be ordinances, spending.
Whatever,
Right.
spending, you're gonna award a contract.
But it doesn't limit the public discussion period.
Yeah, you can discuss
Right.
whatever you want to
You
discuss.
just can't make a decision
Right.
unless it's been posted 24 hours.
Understood.
So we had already moved to do that. We have our agendas up on the web. We have occasionally had material here, but we have to make sure it's here all the time in the future. And that's what, for all standing committees?
We just said, it'll just be for the zoning, planning, and for the council.
Okay. All right, that's working. Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions for the solicitor? Seeing that, Mayor. All right.
I know I'm busy next week. I got nothing.
Yeah, we are going to be honoring the Clifton Heights Fire Company on their 125th. We'll also have a moment of silence. As Joyce pointed out, one of the firefighter who passed away was helping somebody on Schuylkill, I believe it was. He was a member of multiple fire companies, including Clifton Heights. He was a volunteer there.
Picture they have on the news.
That's what.
Yeah,
picture kept
They
being
talked
from
about
Clifton
Belmont
Heights.
Hills and all these other fire companies, but it was always him standing in front of Clifton
He was
Heights.
a captain at Clifton Heights.
And then we're going to be honoring the boosters, of course, because August is all the booster month. Those are the two proclamations. at the
Yep,
start.
we're all set for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And the mayor will do his normal good job with that.
We're also gonna give him an award to Colin Delfrey, where we'll present him something.
Oh, yeah. Madam Treasurer,
All I have is we're, just about finished up with our, annual audit, a couple little pieces, but, I believe everything's looking good. They seem to be happy with their findings, and, everything seems to be in order, so, couple.
It went well this month. so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, so far, so.
wasn't last year the first year for this auditing group, was it?
Second.
Second year?
So this is their third year. This is our, I don't know whether we had this guy last year, but this is our, I know.
This is our first year with Anthony.
First year with Anthony, and he's been very, but, yeah, we're real pleased that we seem to be,
And we're ahead of last year.
huh? Yeah,
Last year we
we're
were-
6 months ahead, or at least 4
4
months
months.
ahead of last year, so we're pleased, so,
That's not us, by the way, it was them
yeah.
scheduling.
Yeah, but John, kudos to John, he got that, request for the engagement letter out nice and early, and we've
And
got,
on the schedule.
we've got our ducks all lined up, so.
Well, I know you were setting up a system so that you had your system to match whatever they
Right.
wanted to draw to make it
Exactly,
easier.
Yeah, we're learning a little bit.
Any questions for the treasurer? Seeing none, Madam Vice President.
I don't have anything. The items that I wanted were not ready,
Okay,
so. It's another month, maybe.
Councilwoman McKernan.
So the recycling committee meeting is a week from tomorrow, so I don't even know what date that is, but.
Oh,
I guess it'd be August the 12th.
12, yeah.
Get the numbers from, you don't have to announce it now, but you have them.
I have the
From
shredding numbers, I
Wiggins?
don't have the trash number.
That's just for next week.
Yeah.
And you, and did the scouts, I saw they copied me. They get you all of the
Oh, yeah,
tickets for the aluminum cans
I
for the
believe
year?
I have them, yeah.
Okay. Because I know they weren't providing them. They did the
Yeah.
1 year month and then they stopped, so.
Mr. President, I apologize. The one thing that was completed is the installation of the free library.
Oh, yes.
And we
Books with
have
Bob.
Another we have another location that's tentatively waiting for feedback from the boosters, I guess.
Yeah, we did discuss that at the meeting. It's just so they know that Joyce has been spearheading the little library. It's right outside the building here next to Bob Reardon's bench. So we're calling it Books with Bob. Read your books with Bob. And we're looking at a location that the borough owns, which would be at the Triangle Park. Probably not along the side that's Providence Road across from your house because of the traffic. Yeah, at Mayor Evanston Park, they have something up there. And we're talking about with the boosters about a bench going up for Mayor Hopley, so. Looking at where you can get access and it's not close to Providence Road. Because there's a lot of traffic. down there.
I think the corner, Joyce, that you and I looked at, it's a pretty good spot. I mean, we put a bench so you can sit and read in the shade.
What's
It would be
like
close
further up on the
to
triangle?
To where Hopefully lives.
Ridley and Providence
You could-
Place.
you could Bring them lemonade or
I
something.
know. I would definitely be concerned with attracting people sitting up there after hours. But-
Well, there's a light right there,
There
though.
is a light right there.
That's the good thing.
You know, I think,
Well, Ralph, we'll keep an
right,
eye
I
on
was gonna say, we could have some complaints
it.
right there.
We do have a watchdog, so.
Yeah, we do.
I'm
that's for
surprised I
sure.
haven't heard anything
The park,
about
you can't bring your dog.
on heating equipment. sitting
The
in front
park,
of the
you
house.
can't bring your dog.
All right, thank you, Madam Vice President. Anything else?
Just we had a meeting with BNL about just the
Ah.
status of trash at the county about transitioning to them having a health department. Two meetings that happened this month.
What did they say about the health department? Are they gonna?
They're gonna be taking over food inspection. And public pool inspection.
But not the private
Not-
pool
right.
inspections. So
That's basically.
that transition date's supposed to be January 1 of twenty
That's
twenty-two.
what, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we'll actually have a county. board of
county,
health,
yeah.
yeah.
So will Jim Maloney then not be doing the food inspection?
that's correct. The county's taking the school, the Giant, all those food places and the swim club, Alden Swim Club falls under the county department. But the private pools, which we're not the only town that does it, we would still have to do that inspection. So we'd have to have somebody,
Right.
whether it's him or not, because they're hiring,
Right, he may become a county.
he may
inspector.
become a county inspector because they're hiring about 30 inspectors. They haven't started that process yet, so.
So if he becomes a county inspector, can he work privately for?
Don't know the answer to that question at this point in time. And it's not known whether he'll do it or not, so. We have that on the agenda for budget time to see how we're gonna pay for that. Thank you for reminding me about those two meetings. Any other questions for the councilwoman?
So we had an accident with one of our police cars last week. So it's going through the insurance company. I believe today we found out that the police car was totaled, but thank God our police officer was not injured. So they'll have to be at the police car within the next couple weeks, I guess. That's all I have.
Nobody was hurt either,
No.
neither the police officer or anybody else involved, so.
Thank God.
Just on routine patrol, trying to avoid getting into an accident with another car.
Any other questions for the councilwoman?
I don't have
Mr.
one.
Conley,
I received a complaint, John forwarded me a complaint from 25 South.
Lively.
Lively, whatever, Lively. Woman was complaining that her fiance can't park a truck on the street. It turns out that right across the street is Collingdale and they can park there. I reached out and the fiance called me back. The letter was a little, it took me a little back, way. She seemed like she came after us a little bit, like, explaining what our ordinance is and how we're wrong. But when I talked to fiance, he was very easy to talk to. He was very happy. He just didn't want to park in front of his neighbor's house. But it turns out, John and actually Dan reminded me that Rively, you can't park on that street, or that side anyway. Anything, not trucks. or
yeah,
cars.
I think so.
It's no parking.
So gave him a couple of options. She'd asked what they could do. So John had said there was an apron there, a drive apron that they got rid of and made it a lawn. So they were looking to maybe get a permit, put another driveway in, or just keep parking in front of the neighbors' houses. I live on Albert. I don't have a driveway and it does stink. So I do feel his pain, but I mean, it's the best case scenario is we can park right across the street.
But when you live on a street where there's only parking on one side, such as I do, and so does Mary Jo, you park wherever you find a spot.
We don't only park our parking spots in front of our own houses, but everybody has to get over that.
Well, like I said, at one
It's like
point. we
being
were
down the
parking
shore.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's tough, it's tough parking some days.
Have
First
car
down.
ballet.
Yeah.
Did you want to touch on our friends at two Springfield?
You can, I haven't actually read them.
Well, you might have seen that there was an abatement done by Blue Devil at that location to get rid of asbestos and other material, including lead paint. To do that, they had to partially knock down the garages, take the roofs off, and then it sat there. Mr. Tartaglia asked them to put a safety fence up, and they put up what I consider to be a snow fence. So they have until the end of this week to put up a fence that you see at 33 East Providence with the chain link, with the security and the cinder block so that people can't get in there, because the place has been ugly looking ever since then. I know the mayor has been catching some grief because he lives right down the street from there. So if they don't do it, they've been told they're going to start getting leaned again. You know, they're going to get cited for not having the proper thing up. And they were supposed to start knocking the thing down this week, I was told originally, but they haven't. There's nothing going on over there, other than they put the fence up Tuesday a week ago.
Do they have the permits to start the construction?
They have the permits to do the demolition, which they haven't finished yet. I mean, they did the abatement, they did the rodent abatement, and then they did the environmental abatement. So they're clear to knock it down and grade it so they can start construction. But once again, they've come to a screeching halt. So
And Dan, to your point, I mean, the fencing, I don't think suffices.
No.
It just feels and looks dangerous, the whole entire.
well, I'm glad they put something up because we've been trying to get them to put it up, but it's not. And Tony, Mr. Tartaglia wrote them and said, you know, that doesn't meet the code. Here's the code. And they responded, we'll change it. And here we are almost a week later and it's not done yet. So we'll see. They're under notice, and that's where we stand. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Any questions for Conley? Mr. Borders, our sewer man.
I think everything's been covered.
Yeah.
Touched on it covered. You know, with the stop and go sewer has been, you know, repaired. 64 Albert, they're going to get lean. And I think that's all I have.
Good. Any questions for the councilman?
I may have missed it on the highway side, but I don't know what one it was. John may know the answer. There was a, I guess, a block cut out of, I want to say it was Magnolia and Laurel, I guess it is. We know what that was for.
Block where, in the middle of the
In
street,
the middle of the street.
pothole,
It was a pothole. Okay.
probably a 2x4 patch.
Yeah, I was trying to say, it was an abnormally sized.
Yeah, they usually
cut.
cut it pretty big, so they
Okay.
bind it around it. So, you know, if you do a little
First I've seen
pothole,
it that way.
chances are it's gonna come back up again.
They did, you know, we did temporary patches on those after the
Yes.
snow, and they did a one at,
Yep.
it's
I
at
didn't remember
Linden
doing
and East Magnolia.
Yeah.
And then they did a couple further up in the unit block of East and West Magnolia, and then they did one on Glenwood between Magnolia and Early, which is also going to be under investigation because there's some sort of a sewer line under there that nobody knows.
Which we did video last week.
Have you gotten the report on that yet?
We have not gotten a report on that, but it's very interesting what it is. There's actually a line that runs from Belgrade down to there through the properties. The problem with it is it's the corrugated 12-inch, 8-inch pipe, whatever it is. And over years, you know, the bottom of it rot out. So it could be one of these, we'll be looking into slip lining
Mhm. Okay.
And it's running through people's properties
underneath.
underneath. the
Yeah.
properties.
I mean, we have that right now
Yeah.
between Providence Road and Collindale, where
Yeah.
in the 300-400 block, right in the middle, there's one that runs through all of them.
Yeah, it's just,
There's actually inlets in some of the properties.
there's a store in the backyards. So
Yeah.
it's designed to drain. We discussed that last month as well. All right, anything else? Road program.
Yeah, so I mean, you heard John talk about.
Sorry.
Sorry, no worries, no worries. I mean, I don't have much more than it's not complete to start.
It started.
Chief, I'll talk to you offline about this, but I know it came up at council last month. And I had to ask a question, would rolling through a stop sign be considered aggressive driving? Is that something?
Yeah, it's called the aggressive driving task force. This particular month or 2 months is centered on red lights, stop
Gotcha.
signs, that type of thing.
Okay,
So,
so,
yeah.
so one of the initiatives that we're looking into to doing, and it's something I gotta get from, I guess, Heather or John, is just how many stop signs we have. And the things that we want to put up there, or at least suggest to council is just the extra additional penalties that would be for rolling through as opposed to coming.
The free stops
Yeah, free
and
stop.
$152 for rolling. Caught my
That's the
attention.
South Philly slide. Slide on the road.
A lot of towns do have those signs, like, you know,
Yes.
stops are free, rolling through costs you $152 or something like that.
Yes.
And 3 points.
Is that-
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, 2 points, I think, running a red light.
So it was just something that I think we wanted to address, just see how many stop signs it was and see what it is. Those numbers.
Maybe your buddy should, looking at, what's his name, is always up there about a stop sign outside. Always sliding through. It's a British guy.
Mr. James.
Mr.
Yeah.
James.
That's what he's always complaining about, that they just roll right through.
Well, they used to speed through, so at least they're slowing down a little.
The ones I'm concerned with are the offset. It's the one like it's at the end of, there's a number of offset stop signs and
Yeah,
people just. The perception one is that you're blowing through it the other way and you actually roll through it. I mean, there's one truck in particular that I encounter every morning that blows.
Your
the water
street's
around.
got one at Linden and Walnut where it's not
Linden.
lined up, it's disjointed.
Correct. Correct.
So-
There's a truck every morning as I'm going to work. It's just, because I go out and about around the block. And he rolls right through the stop sign. So I make sure I'm dead stop, just waiting for my to come off the street. I just wait.
What time is that,
Stop
Steve?
sign.
What time is that?
It's probably about, well, I mean, I get out of the house at about 5:15 every morning. Roughly,
Okay.
depending.
And it's on Linden.
It's a pickup, yeah, it's a pickup truck at the end of Walnut and Linden. Right, roughly about 5:15.
We had, just so you know, too, and I didn't bring it up before, we had the little thing going on where we would park police cars with nobody in them.
Mhm.
And it didn't take long for, people are pretty smart, and they caught on to that, if there's nobody in them.
Yeah.
So now, these different officers are assigned throughout the town in different time segments, but there's policemen in. So the tickets are gonna start flowing a little bit.
We do that with boots inside of garages. We put one of our cars with a boot on it, so people are like, oh, I can't park across.
Pretty good.
yeah, that is pretty good.
Play some mind games, I like that.
The only other thing, John, I signed off on an invoice for ADU with regards to the removal of the pole.
Yes.
How significant was it? I mean,
Pretty good.
It was on, I went over with, Officer Jackson, and it was, on all of the equipment. It was on the slide, it was on the poles, and they actually left the paint bottles, we took the paint bottles, they left them in the trash can. Because I watched too much TV, I said, can we get bigger?
So they actually did it on the playground equipment down there.
All over.
Yeah,
Okay.
it first looked like
Graffiti
some spray
and
paint,
foul
but
language.
actually they were little
symbols.
Crayola bottles.
Those
And so
kids.
they did, and it looked like, I guess it could have been power washed off, but I don't know.
It was power washed.
Yeah,
That's the only way we could get some of it off.
yeah, but it was, they did everything, even on the little, poles in between, and just, I guess they just went across with the. whatever they did.
I mean, I have seen large groups of kids roaming the town and actually stop, like, making people stop driving, going into traffic on my street. And the drivers were very upset. And the one driver was getting aggressive. I'm like, "Oh, God, you can't get aggressive with these, like, but they're teenage kids and they're playing in and out of traffic. So I mean, maybe we just need to,
The bike
Step-
patrols are good. for
Yeah.
that stuff.
step up the
Yeah.
patrols, especially around the
Yep.
parks, especially. I mean, it's definitely in the evening time where I saw the groups of kids causing issues in traffic. So,
Yeah, they're getting a little brazen.
Well, we don't really know who did it, but as far as over there, I know you talked about having some of those trees cut back. Because Officer Jackson went back in there to try to look to see if there was, if they had left any, because we thought it was spray paint.
Mhm.
And then while he was back there, I was looking in the trash can, and that's when I saw him.
I'm either gonna wait till fall or early spring to cut it back pretty good there, because it's been years since we really did a cleanup down by the pool area there. And that is our walkway. So you're right, everything was overgrown. Little more open view there, where, you know, maybe you would catch somebody.
Any other
that's all.
questions for Steve?
That's all I
Thank you very much. Any comments from the audience? Any questions? Mr. Caperna? No? Well, we have an executive session on a personnel matter.
Very quick.
So we thank everybody for attending the meeting, and we're gonna go into executive session. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Understand.